We got ourselves another weekend and another episode of On Top and Hot. I'm your host, John Zidar, aka the Stock Wizard, and this is the weekend of January 10th. Now, what I prefer to do is to talk to you about hot penny stocks. I'm a day trader. I love trading stocks under $5. But on the weekends, I like to share my own personal trading insights with you. Information I think can help you. And what I want to do today is talk to you about ThinkorSwim, a free trading platform you get from Schwab. What I want to do is show you how I set up my charts and my oscillators as well as my scans. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the scan application is most important. When I'm trading a stock, I want to watch that chart, but I also want to do my due diligence and find other stocks. And the way TOS is set up right now, I can only look at one window at a time. So I've got a lot of great shortcuts to set this up so that you can do due diligence as you're trading and see everything at the same time. Let me show you what I got for you. I'm guessing no introduction is actually necessary, but this is ThinkorSwim. ThinkorSwim. These are my viewers. ThinkorSwim is also known as TOS. ThinkorSwim is only available through Schwab. You got to have an account with them, which isn't a problem. Getting an account with Schwab is easy and free. You don't have to give them any money. You don't have to make a deposit with them. You don't even actually have to trade with them. Just open up an account. Once you do, they'll give you access to a link where you can download ThinkorSwim and install it. And you can start using it immediately for free. What a deal. So let's jump on into this. You're looking at a chart here that has got all of my MAs and oscillators. That's what I use. Now, just to be clear here, I am not making this video so that you can duplicate what I've got set up. I mean, you can if you want to. The point of the video is to show you where the tool shed is so that you can find the tools and the MAs that you want to use. You can install them and implement them on your charts. Now, if you want to duplicate what I've got here, great. It'll make it easier for you when you're following my videos. And I do think I've got some good MAs and oscillators. The truth of the matter is, most of the ones I use are very popular. And that's why I use them. The more people that use an indicator, the more responsive it's going to be. If you have 100 people sitting at one street light, when that street light changes, there's going to be 100 people either moving or stopping, because they're all looking at the same signal, the same indicator. So if I'm using the same indicators that most people are using, when I see that breakout over the 200, I know most other people have seen it too. So we're all going to move together, creating that upsurge. That's the primary reason I use popular oscillators. So let's zoom in on what I do use here, just so you know. I'll give you a brief description. I use 4 moving averages. I guess you could say I actually use 5. I use 4 that are very, very popular. Moving averages are these colored squiggly lines that are moving across the chart. What these are doing are giving you the average price of the stock over a set given period of time. Each one of these lines has a different time period attached to it. The blue line up here is 9-day. The orange is some 20. It could be 20, 21, 26. The yellow is the 50, and the bright red is your 200-day MA. Each one of them takes that many periods of prices and averages them together. Now, I do use one other moving average, though it really isn't called a moving average. It is this purple blue one. This is the 200 Hall. The 200 Hall and the 200-day MA are very, very similar. They're both very strong, the strongest on the board. They both take 200 days of prices and average them together. But the 200 Hall puts more credence on current prices. It's relating to the price. It's taking it into consideration. It's being friendly. And that's the big difference here, folks. The 200 MA don't give a hoot about the price. Never, ever thinks about it. The 200 Hall does. When you see the price get up over top of the 200 Hall and it stops falling and starts to climb, you normally see heat build up immediately. And that heat draft pushes the price up. And you normally get some very strong runs just because the 200 Hall turned up. And you can see what I'm talking about right here. She turned up right there and it just started to rev, folks. So this one is not about popularity. It's about signal strength. It is a very strong signal that is quite accurate and I depend on. So I do use that one as well. Now let's take a look at what oscillators I use. Of course, you can use whatever oscillators you want. I do use volume like most people do. I've got mine outside of the chart. You can actually have this overlay on the chart if you like. This icon up here, this little gearbox, click that. Right here is a button that says overlap volume. When you click that, it will put the volume on top of the chart for you. Personally, I like mine underneath. Also, when you have come to your ThinkorSwim, chances are your volume looks like that. All one color, blue, most likely. So you have no idea when buying volume is coming in or selling volume is leaving, and those are very important indicators. So you can click this button right there, change those colors, and you can see when buyers are coming in and sellers are leaving the game. My next oscillator is my PPO. That is my percentage price oscillator. This is akin to the MACD. You read them both the same. You want the blue line on top of the other one climbing. The difference between the PPO and the MACD uses the full price. The PPO, percentage price oscillator, right, uses a percentage of the price. Now, me personally, I like the PPO better. I think it's more sensitive than the MACD. However, the MACD shows divergences more often than the PPO. We're not going to go into that, but a divergence tells you about an imminent reversal that could be coming. So I like to be aware of that as well. And then on the very bottom, I've got my RSI, which I think most people use as well. But my favorite oscillator by far is the ADX. I do have a video out there about the ADX if you want to get a lot more information. But in the gist, we've got 3 lines on here. The green line is your uptrend. Your red line is your downtrend. Whichever line is at the top of the graph is the trend on the chart. So we got an uptrend on the chart right now. The yellow line is measuring how strong that dominant trend is. If the yellow line is at the bottom of the graph, it's very weak. If it's up at the top, it's very strong. This goes from 0 to 100, and it's up there at 100 right now with the green. So right now, this is telling us there is a strong uptrend on the chart. One of my favorite oscillators. So those are all my MAs and all of my oscillators. But chances are, when you downloaded it, yours looks more like that. A naked jaybird. Got nothing up there. And the problem is you want it, you just don't know where to get it. So I'm going to show you where the tool shed is. And if you know what it is you're looking for, you can find it here. Up here, you've got your ticker to the far left. Follow that bar over to all these icons. You see that flask to the far right that says studies? That's not the one we want. We want the other one. This flask to the far left that has no words next to it. That is your tool shed. Click that, brings up everything we're going to need. We're going to type in what we want up here in this text box. It'll bring up our choices and options right here. And then we're going to add them by clicking this button here, and they'll show up right there. Now me, I need to get myself 4 MAs, a Hall, and some oscillators. My first MA is a exponential moving average. It is an EMA. All of my other MAs are simple moving averages. You want to learn more about that? Just look up simple moving averages versus exponential moving averages. So I'm going to put in EXP to get my 9 up here. Right here, moving average exponential. Hit add selected and it populates over here. I now have that. My next MAs are all simple. So I'm going to type the word simple. Simple moving average is right there. I need 3 of these. I need one for my 20, my 50, and my 200. So I'm going to hit add selected 3 times. 1, 2, 3. There's all my moving averages. Now I need my Hall. HULL. Only one thing comes up, makes it pretty simple. Hall moving average, add that. Now I've got all my moving averages that go onto my chart, all those wiggly lines, but they're not all set. We got to go in there and tweak them. Right now, they're all 9-day MAs. So we are going to fix that here in a minute. But first, while the shed's still open, let's grab my oscillators. The first oscillator I would want underneath my chart would be my volume, but I've already got that down here. So you would type in volume. It would show up. You would click add selected. Easy peasy. That's going to be right there. Then your first oscillator, whatever you're using. Me, I'm using the PPO. This shows up as weekly and daily PPO. That's the one I want. I add selected, shows up right there for me. My next one is my ADX. Now, I want to say something real briefly about this, folks. The ADX here is just the yellow line. It's just the line that shows you the strength. It isn't bringing up the green line, and it's not bringing up your red line. That doesn't bring these up. There is a tool out there that does it. I had a friend show it to me called DMI, Directional Movement Indicator, has all three lines. It's like the ADX, looks a lot like it, acts a lot like it, but I don't like it. So I've concocted my own and it works really well. So I hit this ADX and I do add that over here to my chart, but that's only the yellow line. So I got to go get the other two, and they are DIM, Directional Indicator minus, DIM. I'm going to add that one. The other one is Directional Indicator plus, DIP. That's the positive. That's the green line. I'm going to add that as well. Now, all I got to do is put these in the same box. Right now, they're each going to be in their separate boxes as they show here. They've each got their own. So just drag it up to the ADX, drag the other DI to the ADX, and all three of them are there. 1, 2, 3, all three of them are now in the one box. I've got a perfect ADX. The last two oscillators I need are pretty popular. The MACD, we'll add that one. And the last one, can you remember what it was? That's right, RSI. Ding. All right, so that gives me all of my oscillators, all of my lines. But where are they? Remember, I told you we got to tweak them. Right now, they all read 9-day MAs, but this is real easy to do. All you got to do is go into the settings, which is the gear icon right here to the far right. Click that icon, it'll open up this window. First thing you want to make sure of is that the box is ticked right here. It says show study. That means show the line on the chart. You want to see it. This is the only box we have to concern ourselves with in the top portion. Make sure your number's right. We want a 9-day EMA. Got a 9 there. All of this is preset for us and accurate. Unless you like your lines thicker, you can make them thicker right here. I do like my oscillator lines thicker, but normally my MAs are just 1. Then we can set the color. Most people set their 9-day MA at bright blue. That works for me, so I'm just going to say okay. The next one, I need my 20. Make sure it's ticked up here. We are ticked. I'm going to change this 9 into a 20. All of this is correct except the color. Most people like to use orange for their 20-day. Nice bright orange. That's good for me. I'm going to use that as well. Third one here is my 50-day MA. 50 days usually yellow. Everything is set. All I got to do is change the color. I'll get the brightest yellow I can find and I'll be happy. Last one I got to add now is my 200-day MA. Just get rid of this 9, replace that with the 200, make sure my box is ticked, everything's set, change the color. I'm going to change this to the most common, bright red. Now, I use the most common colors because it's just easy when other people are looking at my charts. They understand them. When I look at their charts, I understand them. But if you're colorblind, if green and red don't look green and red to you, don't worry about what other people see on your chart. You're setting your chart up for you. So set it up any way that you need to. So that gets all of our MA set. What about our haul? Well, the haul is already set to 200. If it isn't, check. Just make sure you got a 200 in there. Your box is ticked up here. The one option I like down here is the fact that I can change the color of it when it's falling and when it's rising. This is a very important oscillator to me, or I should say MA, because when it starts to come up, as I told you, it puts off a lot of heat and it causes the price to rise. And I don't want to look at the chart and see, is it just flat? Is it just now? I want to know, has it changed? Because the price reacts to it just that fast. So I have 2 separate colors here. And a lot of times I actually will make this twice as thick. It's just one of those things I want to see nice and easy. Now, what about our oscillators? Do I have to tweak anything down here? PPO is already set. Default MACD is perfect. The RSI is right, and we've already got our DI plus and DI minus with our ADX. So everything is set here perfectly. So we apply it and boom, there's my chart set up exactly the way I like it. Well, not exactly. See down here, this is my ADX. Yeah, that's right. You know, I got a green line, a red line, and a yellow line, but to me, it just isn't as good as I like it. So I have saved this as a set. I can come over here to sets, find my ADX complete, click use set, apply, and now look at my ADX. Look at how bright and vivid it is. Look at how thick it is. I use my ADX a lot, folks. And there we go. Shazam! We've got ourselves a chart that makes sense to us. We've got the MAs we want to read. We've got the oscillators we've chosen. We're ready to trade. All we need is a hot stock. Now, let's say we find one, we invest into it, and let's just say that's the chart we're monitoring. What are we going to do now? We're going to watch that chart. As a day trader, you can't afford to walk away. This isn't a swing you're going to hold for days, weeks, or months. Something could happen in a matter of minutes, and you're going to want to get out, whether it be bad or good. So we're going to watch this chart, which presents a problem. I also want to do some due diligence. I want to look at other charts. I want to find stocks that have heat. Well, they do have a scanner over here. That's not a problem. I can just jump over here, see which stock has the most volume, see which stock has the most gains. But where's my chart? I got to jump back. Oh, what's going on? So I got to bounce back and forth. Well, they do have features like they have this side window over here. It's a task. Over here, you can add extra features, gadgets, if you will. You can put your watch lists in up here. You can put in quick charts. You can do a lot of different things over here, but there are still limitations. And I have worked around these limitations so that I can actually look at 500 to 1,000 charts in less than 15 minutes. Yes, I can. You couldn't do it the way they had it set up, but the way I've got it set up, you're looking at charts. You're not typing in tickers. You're not going through all of the hard work to get to the chart, bouncing around from window to window. You are getting to see each chart. And I get to watch my chart for my play at the same time. So we have one last thing to do before we can set up our scanners. We got to have at least 2 charts here, right? I need the chart that I'm monitoring for my play, and I need my due diligence monitor, the one that can keep changing. So I've always got at least 2 windows open. Normally, it's a heck of a lot more than that. Honestly, folks, you can have as many charts on here as you want. But obviously, the more you have, the smaller they get. And I don't want them all looking like they're on mobile phones. But I do have up to 5 up on my charts at a time, and you can have them go sideways all next to each other. You can have them go down. There's 2 ways to set this up. It depends what day of the week it is. I do not have to change my program, but this button changes. Sometimes it goes one way, sometimes it goes the other. Right up here, there is that button with all these dots that make a square. Click that. Sometimes when you click that, a square comes up with a whole bunch of other squares in it. You choose how many squares and what layout that you want for how many charts you want on your screen. 3 in a line, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, whatever it is you want. You just click those squares and boom, you've got them and you set up each chart. Or you get this custom grid button right here you got to click, and it brings up this little doodad on your screen. If you click the one, it'll bring up a new chart on the bottom. And then look here, folks. I haven't pointed this out to you yet, but every single chart has 9 tabs attached to it. There's a little link button right there that has nothing going on. But there's a 1, 2, 3, all the way down to 9 with different colors. Every single one of those is a tab that you can put a chart on. So you can literally get 10 charts on one charting screen. But it is these 1 through 9 colored links that we're going to be using here, folks. Now, I'm going to get rid of this because I don't need that one. And I'm going to get rid of the little doodad. So what I've got here are 2 screens. This one is my all day, do not change. So I don't link that to anything. It's unlinked. I can play around with all of these screens I'm going to show you, and this will always be the stock I need to watch. And I'm always going to be able to see it after we get this all set up. This screen over here is my due diligence screen where I'm going to do all of my work, and I'm going to be able to find the next stock that I'm going to be getting into. But enough of all that. Let's go jumping on into the scanning section of this video right now. You ready? All right. We are back here to the scanning application on ThinkorSwim, an excellent resource to help you sort through tens of thousands of stocks, narrowing it down to a select few that meet the criteria of stocks you want to invest in. Now, we're not going to talk about any of that, how to filter these scans. That's a whole nother video. Lots of videos, lots of information out there, folks. You can do your own research on that. Right now, what I want to do is share with you how to connect, how to link your scan to a chart so you have them both side by side, and you have the stock that you're playing up on the screen as well, so you can see everything at one time. No blind spots. So let's say we're setting up to scan for a penny stock scan. You can search whatever you want, but I'm going to put in 1 penny as my minimum price, $5 as my maximum price. I'm going to use one filter. I'm going to use volume, and I'm going to put in a mere 1,000 shares. That's it. But I'm doing this for one reason alone, to get rid of stocks that haven't had any trades today. All those goose eggs, all those zeros, I don't want those on my scan. So this will keep it tidy and clean for me. So now I've got my results. Let's say I'm interested in this very top stock, ticker RLAB. So I click it. Where's my chart? It doesn't work that way until you link them together. What you've got to do right now is jump back over here to charts, and you've got to type that in, RLAB. Now you can see your chart. But what if you want another one? Well, you got to jump back here. Yeah, I like STHI. That looks pretty good. Let's look at that. Got to jump back here again. Type in STHI. Oh my God, look, I did it wrong. Man, this is frustrating. This is the problem, folks. Jumping back and forth, typing, wasting time, and not being able to keep an eye on the chart that I am playing right now. And you really think I'm going to be able to see 500 charts in 15 minutes doing it this way? Not possible. You don't think it's possible anyways, but I'm going to show you that it is. So what we've got to do is connect the scans to the charts. That's what this yellow 2 is here. That is a link. Remember, I showed you over here that every chart has 9 tabs attached to it, 1 through 9, each having a different color. And you can link to any one of them that you choose. I chose to link to the yellow 2. So let's add this. Where do we find this? Well, all these tabs up here, your ticker, description, volume, bid, ask, high, low, VWAP, all of those come from the same place where we're going to get our link. Follow that across the board, description, volume, bid. Come all the way to the far right, and there is a little itty bitty tiny gear icon right at the end. That's your button. Click that. Then click customize. This is where all of your tabs are listed. On the right-hand side are all the tabs you currently have up on your board here. You don't want one of them? Highlight it, click remove, then click OK. It disappears. You want to add one? Come over here, click it, add right there, and then OK, and it shows up. We want to add this link. Now, you can choose whichever one you want. I'm going to use the yellow 2, and it's easy to find. Just put in the color. I put in yellow, and I get yellow 2. I click my add button right there. I click OK, and voila, I've got my link. Now we're halfway there. So now I want to look at our lab. I don't click the ticker. I click the tab. But let's look at VSSF. I don't click the ticker. I click the tab, the 2. Now we come back over here, VSSF, right? Come back over here. How about RMHI? RMHI. Yay! We've got our chart attached to our scan. The problem still is that I've got to bounce back and forth. I'm still missing monitoring this chart and never taking my eyes off of it. So we've still got to go a little bit further. So this is the trick, folks. Remember this side window I showed you over here? Over here, you can put in different gadgets. They have your quick charts, which comes in real handy. You can bring up the news. You can bring up watch lists. Now, watch list is the ticket here. This over here is a scan. This over here is a watch list. Now, most of us think of watch lists as things we have to type in, and I make this. What I have done is I have converted my scans into watch lists. If you look over here under my personal, there's a $1 scan, a $2 scan, a $20 scan, $5 scan. I turn my scans into watch lists because once it's over here, then we've got everything connected. Watch this. I'm going to close this side window. Up here in the far right corner, you have got these little 3-lined boxes. There's one in the middle there that says Add Conditional Group. Click that box. At the top, it says Save, Scan Query. Click that. The scan you have up here right now, mine is a 1 cent to $5 with 1,000 volume. That is the one I'd be saving. It's asking me right now, you sure you want to save this? That's an awfully lot to save. Yes, I absolutely want it. Now, just so you know, it is updated. When I open up my watch list, it will always be updating. It's not going to be stuck on what it is right now. It is a scan that's turned into a watch list. So whatever you want to name yours, just give it a name right here and then click save. Boom. It shows up right up over here under your personal scans, whatever you named it, you click it and that scan shows up. Now watch this, folks. I'm going to bring up my charts. I want both my charts, right? I want my due diligence chart and I want my monitoring chart. There's my monitoring. There's my due diligence. Now watch. I'm going to click the letters. Boink. But check this out. You don't have to be looking over here. You know, when I'm pointing, I've got to put this right on there and click it. But I don't have to do that. I can put my mouse down and I can use the arrows on my keyboard. And all I got to do is that. I'm looking at you right now and I am changing. So I can look at that chart and just glance at it while I am watching my other chart over here. And I may be looking for an atypical breakout with the price sitting on top of the 50, over top of the 200 haul, which is just about ready to turn up underneath the 200. This is what I'd be looking for. How fast did I see that? At a glance. And that's all I do, folks. Now, how long does it take me to look at each chart? 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, a second and a half. How many can I look at in 15 minutes? Well, how many seconds are in 15 minutes? 15 times 60. So you can see how I could go through 500 charts very quickly, just like this, sorting through them, never missing what's going on with the stock I'm invested in. And I've got my search list right over there. And you can open up another chart over here if you want. You can really make use of all the different tools that they have over here. But as far as I'm concerned, being able to monitor the stock that I am playing right now, being able to sort through a scan and look at charts and never take my eye off of the stock that I'm invested in, that's golden to me, folks. That is gold. And I think it's going to be gold for you too. So I've given you a lot of information here, how to set up your ThinkorSwim, your charting, and your scans. I've given you a little heads up on some information you want to check out for simple moving averages versus exponential moving averages. You may want to look up information on divergence. I've given you a lot of things to consider. Remember, folks, the more you know, the more you're going to grow. See ya.